Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Games y Más, the podcast where we're talking about all things board games, video games, TV shows, anime, manga, all that good nerdy stuff. Today we're going to be talking about my favorite topic, board games. We are joined today by Alex and Joe, the creators of the board game Widgets N Digits. We're going to get to hear about their experience of the creation of the board game as well as the processes they went through, and as well as talking some general things about board games as well. So, pull up a chair, grab some dice, y acompáñeme a jugar. Okay, and we're here.
Action, live.
Yes, another episode.
Nice.
Hey guys, thank you guys so much for joining us for another episode of Games y Más podcast where we're talking about board games, video games, all those things. You guys can check out the intro video. I'll explain everything. But here, I'm super excited about this episode, guys.
Yeah.
I'm super excited.
You can tell there's energy in the room, audience. You can tell.
Even just setting up was like gold. It was gold. But
I love it.
yeah, so let's just dive into this because we got
Let's do
a lot of stuff. So let's go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Nice.
And then we'll go ahead and get rolling, and then we'll do it. So yeah, we'll go ahead with you. Go ahead.
Hey guys, my name's Joseph, Joe Bugby, but I prefer Mr. Widget, as you can tell from the attire. I'm here with my partner, Alex.
Yo, I am Mr. Digit, and together we have built the game.
Widgets N Digits. So I'm the game designer, Alex is the illustrator, but you know, that doesn't even define what we all did to kind of bring this bad boy to life. So we're super excited to be here with Vic.
Yes. Woo, let's
and,
go.
Talk about some board games and talk about Widgets N Digits.
Yes, I'm super excited, guys. I mean, oh man, like so much I want to unpack, so much I want to talk about.
Yeah, let's do it.
But as is custom here at Games y Más, we always have this icebreaker question. We always ask all
I
our
love an
guests.
icebreaker.
Yes.
Right,
So
right.
here
Call
we
me
go.
the Titanic, because I'm about icebreakers.
There you go. Oh man, we're about to crash.
If you don't like bad jokes, I'm sorry. This is the wrong episode to tune into.
Yeah, you might want to tune into next one. How's it going? That was good. All right. So here's it's a two-parter.
Okay.
You guys
Okay.
can answer
okay.
each one if you can.
I like it.
But it's going to be a simple one. All right. Here we
All
go.
right, here we go.
First part. What is your favorite board game of all time?
Ooh, okay.
Of all time.
I have this out of the pocket,
Yep.
actually.
And then second part, if you guys want to, again, we're an all nerd podcast, is
Okay.
what is your favorite video game of all time that you
Ooh,
love
tougher.
playing?
Actually,
Both of these
also
are really tough.
easy. Do you need time to stew? Because I'm ready to go.
All right, go for it.
Okay, so I'm a type of person where like I have favorite games and then like I just like lock into them and I can play them unlimited times.
Okay.
So my favorite board game of all time happens to be Root. Have you guys ever played
Root?
Root?
Oh,
I love the
yes.
asymmetric gameplay of
Yeah.
it. I love that like you can just have a totally different game like depending on what your faction setup is. And as we talk about Widgets and Digits, my initial dream for this game was to actually make it asymmetric. You can
Yeah.
see in the game how there's different stages.
Yeah.
The idea was instead of having everyone do all 4 stages, you could have your own like stage maybe, and it could become something. Maybe future editions.
Yeah, for sure.
And my favorite video game in the same vein is Dota. So Dota 2
Dota.
specifically, yeah.
Okay,
I love
okay.
asymmetric gameplay, guys. What can I say?
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the kind of like the social deduction games.
Ooh.
I don't know if this is my favorite game, but one that comes to mind is Coup for sure.
Coup,
Just
okay.
Because like it's so compact, it's so simple. It distills strategy and social deduction down to like the bare essentials, and it's really easy to just whip out and have like a really fun kind of like.
I don't know
Do you
Coup.
have this? Do you have that?
Can you give like a 1 or 2 minute
Yeah,
overview?
I've seen it like at like stores, but I've never like, oh, what's this? Like I never like actually looked at it. So
yeah.
yeah, give us like a quick synopsis of that game.
Yeah, so basically, all of you are kind of like high-ranking officials in the kingdom, and each person has 2 cards, and each card corresponds to like a kind of officer. So you can have like a baroness, you can have a soldier, assassin, or not soldier, general, etc. And each one has different effects, but these are all face down, so nobody technically knows what you have. So you have to kind of, and you know there's a fixed number of the cards in the game, so you can just say, oh, I have the Duke. I'm going to get 3 extra coins this turn instead of 2.
Oh, and they all have their own unique abilities, but you
Yeah.
could lie about who you are.
Yeah.
Oh, snap.
Oh, that's
okay.
an
Yeah,
interesting
that is a
game
really cool
idea.
one.
Yeah, and that's the thing, because like if someone figures out that you're bluffing, they can try and like call you out, and if they found out you're lying, you'd have to turn over one of your cards, and if both of your cards are turned over, you lose the game.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's fun.
That's a really cool one. Okay,
I
okay.
do like social deduction.
That's a good one. All right, how about any video games coming to mind?
Oh
Anything
man,
like
I
that?
do love the story-based video games.
Okay.
Like
Classic.
Undertale is one of my
Undertale.
classic indie favorites of all
Ooh.
time.
Ooh.
Even though it shows a little bit of its age now, but
Yeah.
it really revolutionized like the way I thought about video games as a
Yeah,
whole.
for sure. That's a great game. Oh
Simple
man,
but effective.
it's a little sad game too. Maybe a little.
You got to tug on the heartstrings
goes
a
deep.
little.
Yeah.
We like little violin music on the
Exactly.
podcast.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I'm saying?
I mean, the music is fantastic in that game.
What
Great
about
game.
what about yourself, Vic? I'm
Oh,
curious for
man.
you. You might have told listeners 1,000 times.
Actually, you know
but-
what? I have not told it.
What?
You guys are the
Really?
first.
Wow, the first to
Okay,
ask
wow.
back. Yeah, you got to have some humble guests. You know what I'm saying? You gotta,
Man.
We're here for you, man.
You know what's funny? I was waiting to see how many episodes deep I get in until someone be like,
Oh,
"What's
that
your
is
favorite game?"
brutal.
So, you hit me with the fourth episode.
man.
All right.
Guest, we're throwing some shade right now. You know,
Yeah, where you guys at? What happened,
Yeah,
bro? I'm asking you guys. You know, this is a two-way street.
Yeah,
here.
what's happening? It's conversation.
Okay. So, favorite board game? Man, bro, I have so many. Like, it always fluctuates.
I can
but-
tell. Look at this
Yeah,
stack
this
over
is-
here.
this is my-
This is a horde right
Oh,
here.
man.
There's not even half, bro. I have way more. I'll show you.
Yeah,
guys
you gotta
later.
have a shelf. You gotta always
I
have a
know.
nice shelf.
Yeah, well, I
Yeah,
have
you can
to.
tell by like the state of these. These have been well loved.
In the
Yeah.
comments, show pictures of your shelves. You know,
there you go.
we need some good
Let's
shelfies.
Let's see your games. Shelfies. Okay, so I got to go back to Betrayal.
I could tell from the
classic.
wear and tear,
it's-
baby.
I played this
Yeah.
game multiple times. I bought the expansions.
Oh, nice. You got Legacy?
I have Legacy, and we just finished Legacy. My wife and a couple of friends of ours.
Nice.
We
That's
finished
great.
that game, and
we love that.
that game threw me. That game freaked us out because it'd be like, all right, turn the box out underneath and open the package. I'm like, the package.
What?
Whoa!
They're
there's a-
hiding
yeah,
stuff?
They're hiding stuff. I was
Oh
like, bro,
my God.
my mind was blown. And
That's so
Legacy.
good.
Yeah, the Legacy was a good one.
love that.
But yeah, Betrayal is my favorite one. Again,
I love Betrayal.
I love replayability. I
Yeah.
love who's the traitor next. Who's up.
Do you guys get into the characters at all? Do some voices?
I love getting into characters. I love
so
getting into
good.
characters.
Yeah.
It's funny because like I'll always end up being like either like Jessica or like the girls, and then like whoever's Ox follows, I'm like, hey Ox, how's it going?
Oh, yeah. You gotta
You gotta really get into it.
Yeah,
my,
like-
my friend has the best. I don't remember the old guy, Professor Longfellow
Yes,
or whatever.
yes, yeah.
He has the best old guy voice. Like,
No.
"Hello, children," and then he's always with like the little kid guy, and we're like, no, bring it up.
little Peter, like, get out of here. Like,
Oh, come
Stay
here,
away
little
from
boy. And it's like, no, this is a family show. Like, yeah.
we're only summoning demons here.
Cut the tape.
No, but yeah, I love that game. Like, it's fun. I love playing. The Legacy one's great. I bought the expansion that includes 50 more
Oh,
scenarios.
so
wow.
good.
So I'm never gonna play one thing ever once again. So I love
That's
that one.
great. I love that.
Twilight Imperium's kind of getting up there a little
Oh,
bit. 'cause
really? So you're a serious gamer.
I
You're
said,
like,
I'm a hardcore gamer.
Oh,
I love,
that's
You into
great.
those like 24-hour, 48-hour games.
yeah. Like I said, I love all types of board games. Like
That-
I'm a big board gamer. Like I'll play anything. Even
Yeah.
like even the games that people are like, this is bored. I'm like, I'll still play it. I love it.
playing a game is better than not playing a game.
Exactly,
and
right,
so
exactly.
like I've never played a game where I was like, well, it was better than just sitting around or worse
Exactly,
than
yeah.
sitting around, you know?
Exactly.
I was like, what else would you rather do with your time?
Exactly, yeah.
Might as well be gaming.
Might as well
Yeah.
learn some rules, you know.
And, yeah.
Give me your huge rule book, like let's do it.
That's
like,
right. Yeah, exactly.
Like a phone book.
I like a little weight to it, you know.
No, that's what I love about it. I love board games bring a lot of people together. I love that. 'Cause
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
we're interacting with each other, we're talking, we're making fun, we're having stories, we're playing games,
Yep.
we're just creating memories. And it's better than just like, not to bash on video games, which I love video games, but video games is just like good. All right,
It is a little bit more solo.
Yeah, you're a
It-
little. Yeah,
It's funny that you should say that actually, because we had to make a publishing company for the games so that we
Okay.
could actually publish it, right? And the
Yeah.
publishing company is Friendly Bee Game Company, and our motto is "Games bring the hive together." So I love that you
Hey,
said that. I was like,
beautiful.
Yeah, that's our
right
whole
on.
MO.
That's our whole
reason
MO.
for doing
Yeah,
this.
it's got to
I
be a
love it.
social thing.
Hey,
you know?
guys are beautiful. Yes,
I love it. So we see eye to eye. you
Yeah,
know?
exactly. Yeah, and I love it. Yeah. So yeah, those are my favorite board games. Favorite video game. If for those of you that have been watching, following me for episode 1, we've had a guest on our first episode, a good friend of mine, one of my best friends, Matt. We both share the same interest in video games and board games. Like this is
Nice.
his favorite board game.
Oh, great.
And our favorite video game is Kingdom Hearts.
Oh,
That's a convoluted
Oh
series.
my
I've never
gosh.
heard one.
Yes, we love Kingdom Hearts, man. Like we just so I'll reiterate the story. If you guys want to hear the story more, go to episode 1. But the reason why Matt, my best friend, is the reason why he was in my wedding is 'cause
Yeah.
I told him like, hey, what's your favorite? We're talking about Kingdom Hearts, and I'm like, bro, he's got to be my wedding now. Because our love of Kingdom Hearts got us
it
together.
brought you together.
Yeah,
That's
so-
so
Sometimes
good.
it's the wildest thing because like one day I was just online and I was like, someone posted something about Bionicle. You know, like that really old Lego
I think you mean
set.
Broonicle.
Hell yeah,
Hey.
bonkles. And then I was like, oh, I can read the script. It's like, okay, we have to be best friends now.
Yeah,
I've
that's
known
so
them for like
good.
3 years now.
There you go.
Can
Yeah.
we take a moment to talk about Bionicle? I love Bionicle, you guys.
Bionicle.
That was
Bionicles.
so best.
Pouring one out for Bionicle.
Pour one
man.
out for Bionicle.
Y'all remember the
Man.
movies?
Oh, the
yeah.
movies.
I used to
I remember the
also-
one. Do you remember the one where they had like those little worm things or not? Like, that was their
Oh,
whole
yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, that was
With the
so
bark,
sick.
and it kind of like
Yeah. Oh, it was
Yeah.
like, and they're like, they're coming from like the
man.
depths. And I was
Yep,
like,
yep.
I'm so into this.
Yeah.
RP Bionicle. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
RP.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, those are my two favorite Kingdom Hearts. I love Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
As crazy and convoluted, yeah, is that that series is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, trying to explain it to someone, you're like, it's just a game that has Disney characters and Final Fantasy characters. That's all you need to know.
That's all you need to
That's all
know.
you need to know. It has all those. And stuff.
I love it. Yeah.
So yeah, those
games are so fun.
I love your guys' selections. Yeah, Root. I love Root. Root's fun.
You love Root? Root can be hard to get people into
It
because
is.
the learning curve is high, right?
Yes.
Like you have to kind of know what everybody
Yeah.
can do, but like once you get there,
You can't
like
really,
the
like-
flexibility is what
Yeah.
gets me. But
That's
it's-
what I tell people. Like Root is like it's a fun game, but you can't really like.
You
I
can't-
can't be like, hey, this is what you do on your step. Like I can't. Like that's
no,
It's up to you. You
it's
gotta,
so different.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
being the vagabond.
The Vagabond,
Yeah,
who doesn't? The
yeah, the
Vagabond's
Vagabond's-
great. I think the creator, when he made it, like his favorite character was the Vagabond.
No way.
So that's why I
It
think the
shows.
Vagabond's
It
a little
shows.
bit, gets a lot of love. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
A little
Like-
bit biased.
Yeah. I was like, all right, Vagabond's great,
It's like
obviously.
you win if you're the vagabond.
Yeah,
pretty much,
Well,
love
maybe
the-
I love that Woodland Alliance. So don't be coming to my territory right now.
And be like, hey, you want to join? You want to join?
Yeah. The fires of revolution have been lit. Join us, brothers and sisters, as we rise against the crushing force of the cat. Like,
You have nothing to lose but your chance.
yeah.
And they're like, nah, I'm good. I'm like, bro, come on.
Oh yeah.
You're in last place.
Yeah,
All
just
right.
read our pamphlets. Read our pamphlets.
You can't-
Spread a
you
little
can't say
sympathy.
no
Spread
to
a
a
little
pitch like
sympathy.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. So, man.
I get into all the games. I love when I can like get
Yes,
into my little
yes.
like
Oh,
race
man.
or class or whatever. It's so
Dude, we
good.
gotta have a board game night.
Oh,
We
dude,
gotta-
I'm
we
down.
gotta have you
I'm
guys
down.
on.
Absolutely.
I'm always down to have board game nights. Always.
I'm down.
Try bring Widgets and Digits. We'll play it. We'll
Oh,
play whatever.
Widgets and Digits.
We'll
Let's
get
do
into
it.
bro. We'll get into it. Like so, you see my boy Omar. You see how we
Oh,
get
you guys
into
are
it.
so funny.
We get
you guys
into
are the
it.
funniest guys at the con.
way,
I'm
really?
sorry, everybody else
By
at the con,
far.
but it's true. It's true. Yeah, you guys, you know.
We
yeah.
like to get into it. Like I said, like we like to trash talk. We like to get into, but like, yeah, we just get into board games. We love to get into the whole lore, the whole story.
That's what makes it fun.
And if you guys are listening, you haven't figured it out yet, but this episode's all about board games.
Whoop, whoop.
So
You know
we
it.
love, for those of you that know me, I love board games.
no.
Oh, dropping the mic, dropping the mic.
We're also, we drop the mic when we make a cool statement like
Exactly,
that.
yeah, like board games.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, we were a big board gamers. I love playing all types of board games, fun, boring, whatever types it is, and I love how it brings people together. Like we're reiterating, and like I said, with that con where I met you guys 1st, that was my first con, by the way.
Really?
My first
That was
board
our
games.
second con, I think.
Second con?
Yeah, but
was
that
the
was the
best
only
experience
con we've
ever.
really ever been to
Really?
is that strategic
Really?
con.
Okay.
Yeah, we went to the one they did at the beginning of the year, and then that was our
Okay.
second one in the middle of the year,
Okay, got
where
you.
we actually had some like art going, where the game looked a little more put together. If you
Okay.
saw us at the first con, everything was like handwritten, printed.
Oh,
we
papers,
were,
yeah.
we were super like fresh from Staples. We're
Really?
like, it's
Oh,
laminated,
snap.
guys.
Freshly laminated.
As you can see, we're still not away from the lamination stage,
Hey,
but
so
we're.
like, I dig it. I dig it. I dig it. I love it.
It's waterproof. It's beer proof.
Exactly.
Oh man, it's good. It's good. It's good.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
fine. It's fine.
Watch
Yeah.
it out. Yeah. So for those that don't know, StrategicCon is like a board game convention, role playing convention out in LA, the LA area.
It's great con. If
It's-
you haven't
yeah,
been
fun.
before, highly recommend.
Yeah, fantastic fun.
I've started to go to more cons, and I still love Strategic Con. They do a
it's
great job.
dude. I was overwhelmed, to be honest, because it's my
Oh,
first
man,
overwhelmed.
there's so much going
I went,
on.
I'm like, dude, I want to do this. I want to do that.
I
wanna do that. I'm
know.
like, I
Man,
can't.
but like just if you swing by Strategic Con or GameX or Orcon, swing by the Indie New Games
Oh,
Room.
Indie
That's
New
where
Games
the
Room.
best
That's where the heart and soul is.
energy is.
Hashtag heart. Call out to Toraj, our boy,
Yep.
the Dark General. Oh man, he runs the Indie Games Room,
really? Okay.
and he's the guy out front who's like getting everybody in.
Yeah.
He set up like that as like a room. I don't think it was ever a room before this last year.
Really?
And like now you can see it's a really poppin' room, lots
Yeah.
of energy, and like that's where we were able to
man.
meet cool people like yourself.
Yeah,
so.
like that was honestly that was probably my favorite room out of
Yeah.
everything. Like
Oh,
me
man.
and Omar were talking about it.
yeah.
And yeah, we both agree. Like, yeah, that we went in, we played your guys' games, we played a couple other games, and we went out. We're like, what do you want to do? We're like, I don't know. Like, I kind of liked the playtesting stuff. Like that was fun.
It's
Like,
kinda
Spoiled you
fun.
for the rest of the con.
yeah, you got, yeah. I didn't want to do anything else. I was
It's like a trade-off. Like the other rooms have these more like refined games. I would argue like really good games,
No, for
right?
sure.
But like the indie game room, like you're gonna get a presentation from the dude who made the game,
Yeah.
and there will never be a more hyped GM than the person
No.
who's like literally made that thing and
Yeah,
is like,
yeah.
guys,
Look,
you're gonna love it.
check it out. When you pull this card out, it's like,
yeah,
I'm
it's
like,
a little
bro.
handwritten. It's a little rough around the edges,
Yeah.
but like the energy's good. So.
know.
You know,
like-
if the game's annoying, if it pisses you off, the guy's right here.
Yeah,
You can
make
tell
fun
it
of
to
him.
his
You
face.
can
Something
ruin
like I hate
him.
him.
Just tell him these following words, and you can crush their heart. Just say, "It's too complicated. I don't get it," and then they go,
Yeah,
cards in the air, like it's not. It's easy. Let me break out my rule book and thunk. You know, like,
Yeah, it's like that inner monologue. Like, where did I go wrong?
yeah, I know.
Like,
Like,
break into a villain monologue and try to escape. The doors are locked.
it works even better when it's like a strategy game or something.
Yeah.
You just you're like laughing. Like,
Yeah,
you're like getting away. Like, all right, I'm gonna go now. I'm
Yeah,
outta
you know,
here.
they're like sweating. It's so easy.
No, but that room was awesome. Like I
Yeah.
love playing it. I will say though, when it comes to like new games, like playtesting games like that, the way I notice a lot is the way it's pet peeve of mine is the way you present the game, the way you're explaining the rules.
Yeah, makes it breaks it. Really.
Yes, exactly. Like,
Yeah.
and I know, like, I played a couple playtesters. You know, no offense to those guys. Like, some of those guys were kind of like, okay, so when you pull out the card, I'm like, whoa, hold on, wait, hold on. What am I playing here? Like, what's the lore?
Yeah.
Like, and I gotta say, you guys hit it.
You guys-
you guys did it perfect. Like, you got me engaged. I loved the way the presentation. You guys
Thank
explained
you.
it. It was great. Everything about it was. I was hooked. I was like,
thank you, my
let's get
friend.
in. Let's get into it.
I love
And
it.
I was into it. Like I was full blasted in, and I just wanted to play. So you guys got the first part right. You guys,
Yes.
and then the second part, presentation, perfect. And then the
Bullseye.
gameplay, it was good. So yeah, because I
Thank
had.
you.
I think the first time we played this one like werewolves game.
Oh, okay.
And it was cool. It was a cool game.
Yeah.
But the guy he explained it, he was kind of like more reading it off a prompt,
Right.
Instead of like, all right, so the lions, the werewolves do this.
Harder to get into it.
Yeah, so we're just like, so then that's what me and Omar like to do is like, all right, so that he's lacking on that, let's pump it up.
No, and I
Let's
was
get
gonna
into
say
it.
it's actually so funny. So since we've been working with the other indie new gamers, that kind of thing, we have noticed a trend. Everybody who makes games is good at making the game.
Yes,
Right?
yes.
But then some people also have other skills and some people don't. And there is definitely a need for a lot of like game designers to honestly have someone else explain the game.
Right,
Right?
right.
Because like just because you made a good game, like no one will play it if they don't understand how to play. The
Right.
number one way to tell if someone's going to have a good time is like, do they even get how to like make the fun, crunchy, or strategic decisions it's
Right,
going to take?
right, yeah.
And if you can't explain it, they won't be able to. It doesn't matter
sure.
how good it is.
Yeah.
And so having people like yourself who can like talk people through games, like it's actually super helpful and it's better for the game designers
Yeah.
because when people get your game, like
Yeah.
they're more likely to have fun playing
Yeah,
it and want
yeah.
to play it
Yeah,
again.
because you can have the most fun game in the world, but if you don't know how to pull people in, if you don't
Yeah.
know how to like engage people in the world of your game, in the story, and like what they need to do in order to come out ahead, then they're just kind of going along with the rules.
And
Yeah.
you're like, okay, that was okay. Like I think when you guys left, we went back and there was this like it was like a animal dog game.
Yeah.
And the guy was explaining it to us, and then me and Omar and I were like,
It's tricky. I know exactly what game
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
talking
Yeah,
about.
we play tested it at the end of
It's
the
a great
day.
game, but I get
Yeah.
it. It's like it takes.
the presentation wasn't there.
If you're like 30 minutes into the explanation, you're like, what's happening?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
Yeah.
we felt bad because we were just like, you know what? We're like, we'll come back. And we
Yeah,
went out.
yeah.
We're like, that game didn't seem interesting. We're like,
Yeah.
I guess maybe the presentation and stuff. But again, yeah, except first,
It's a big part of it.
Yeah,
it is a big part of it.
It's
And when you're a new game designer, like you got to have that pitch down. Like you got to be able to hook people.
Yes,
you know,
yeah.
that's half the battle. Yeah.
And so with that being said, like I want to talk about
just-
the elephant in the room here.
Oh, and we
Elephant.
specifically have an elephant. I don't know if you can see it, viewers,
can't see it
but yeah, we have an elephant in the room.
But about your guys' game, Widgets and Digits. Like I said, guys, this game. Playing it like this is gonna be big. This is gonna get big.
Oh, thank you, man. I
I'm
hope
calling
so.
it into existence,
Appreciate it.
into the world that it's gonna get big. Like this is a game that, you need to let me know when it's like for sale.
Oh, dude, I will definitely we'll make the post.
I
and-
want like first copy, bro, signed. You know?
Oh, absolutely,
limited
man.
edition.
Thank
Limited
you. I
edition signed.
appreciate
Yeah.
that.
Because like this is a game that I want to share with my friends. I want to play. Like I
I
said,
love that.
It has a party element to it, but also a strategy element to it.
Yep.
You guys, before we started recording, we were talking about you guys were leaning more towards.
We've actually made a couple changes. Yeah. So
Changes.
for everybody who's watching, whether you've played Widgets or Digits or not, this is going to be a little bit of a different game because, as we mentioned, we pushed a little bit more on the strategy edge because, We do want to have the party component. We want this to be a fun game. We want this to be engaging for everybody. We want this to be a game you can grab the whole family in, right? But at the same time, like, we want it to be a game where you feel like your decisions matter, and there's never a point that oh, it was just a dice roll who decided it, right?
Of course,
So we have made some slight changes to push it a little bit more into like the player agency, player decisions matter kind of direction, which is going to take a little bit more on the strategic side. But in our initial play tests so far, at least, it doesn't seem like it's gotten more complicated necessarily. It's just a little bit more like strategic gameplay.
Right.
But Joe, just for the viewers who haven't heard of Widgets N Digits,
we should do the 2-minute overview.
Yeah.
Okay.
So explain to us, what is Widgets N Digits?
What is Widgets N Digits? So in Widgets N Digits, you are the CEO of game night. Yeah. So what that means is you're going to create your very own company, which means we have these little sheets in front of us. You need to come up with your brilliant widget idea. You need to tell us what it does, and you need a catchy slogan, all right? And then everybody goes around, does that, and then whoever has the best idea wins the best friendship of the first mover advantage elephant, and you will get to go first in the game. And then the game is, it's all about upgrading your widget making process. So you have this like 4-step process to making widgets. You can buy these cards, and when you buy them, they upgrade a respective stage. But because this is like a supply chain, everything happens in sequence. So every time you upgrade something, you're going to create a bottleneck. You're going to basically have created capacity, but not necessarily more things going in, right? So you have two choices. You can either buy more cards, but you probably don't have enough money for that, or you can buy the resources you need from the marketplace. So you're constantly making this decision of, do I buy it? Do I build it? And then your goal is by the end of the fiscal year to just make as much money as possible. So whoever does the best job of kind of strategically upgrading their process is going to be in the best position to win. And then the change that we made recently is we've actually added a bidding stage we've added a labor market. Okay. So the game will now, each round will now start with everybody placing a bid for labor, and then whoever bid the most can buy gets to buy labor first from this kind of finite pool of labor. And since if you bid the most, your labor is going to be very expensive. So you have a choice of like, do I want to buy a bunch of labor and kind of limit everybody else's pool, but in doing so, like spend a ton of money, or do I want to bid really low and pick up whatever's left for cheap, you know? And so there's kind of this like bidding and game theory strategery, right? That now you'll have to also think about as you build out your engine.
And you got to make sure you have enough, because if you don't have enough labor to run your machine, it just doesn't run.
Doesn't work.
At all.
So it's a game about strategy, bottlenecks, and a little bit of entrepreneurship. So anybody who's ever wanted to create their own company, this is definitely the game for you.
Check it out, you guys.
And whoever wins at the end of the fiscal year gets to immortalize their name on the inside of the box on the
wall of widget winners.
Hey, nice.
I mean, technically, we're a legacy game since it changes everything.
Exactly.
Cool.
There's a lot of fun elements like coming up with your own company idea. At the end, you get to immortalize your name on kind of this scoreboard. We also have like a score rankings, so it's not necessarily, oh, did I just win or lose this game? It's like trying to bump yourself up that score rankings and see if you can achieve the coveted turtlenecks and magazine covers ranking at the top of the
Do
charts.
your TED Talks and
exactly.
Go to all your conventions.
You made it if you sort of look like Steve Jobs.
Exactly. Yeah, man. I will say though, when I first playtested it, like, I missed that coin flip.
The coin flip, I know. It was the
Yeah.
most contentious part of the game. So originally we had this whole like stock market mechanic where you could wager money in the stock market and it's resolved by flipping coins. And we loved it too. It really was like, it kind of split the difference between strategy and party, you know?
Right.
And then what I noticed though is that the risk takers love the coins, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're a risk taker,
Let's go,
like, yeah, what?
Absolutely.
We don't care if we lose, we don't care if we win, it's the risk, that's fun. But I noticed for people who enjoy strategy board gamers, there's a lot of like very risk averse people, you know, and they're like, why is there any chance at all in this game? Like, I don't like it, you know.
It's a 50-50 chance of me losing my money. I worked so hard to get this.
I'm never going to take it. It's too much of a risk. And then when they would lose to the risk people, they get kind of unhappy about that. So, so we've made the hard choice to kind of push it more on that strategy direction because I think we want this game to definitely appeal to the strategy audience, but at the same time, there's still lots of opportunities to take risks. Every time you're deciding whether or not to like refresh the cards to maybe get something better, you're always pushing that button of is it worth it?
No, I agree. Like I said, I think you guys made the right choice going that other route, more strategy. I can see how it is. I just like flipping things.
The flipping coins is fun.
Like flipping things,
You don't flip enough coins in board games.
No, you don't.
It's like I always, as a kid, I loved to just flip quarters.
Yep.
Like I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
And so I was like, this is just a fun mechanic just to do. Like it's rolling dice is a standard like what people do.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not necessarily fun. Like
Yeah,
flipping something is like it's like a dexterity thing.
Yeah, like leaving.
Yeah.
I always thought that was cool, but I've also noticed that some people struggle with flipping coins, and like
sometimes they go all over
we were
the place.
we were spending significant amount of time on gameplays of like the coins are like flying all over the room, and we're like chasing them down.
Where to land? Where to land?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and they would be like slamming down on the table, like knocking pieces.
Yeah, I
off.
know. It was like it was very chaotic, and I was
Yeah.
like, I could see why this is not used all the time.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah. Kudos for going that other route. It's cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
But let's ask the big question here of why Widgets and Digits?
Why?
Why this route? Why the creation of like wanting to be the next, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk type of in the
I
board
love
game?
it.
Like what? Yeah. Why would? What's the story behind Widgets and Digits?
Okay, so there's absolutely a story. If you haven't told already, I do love to talk. I do love telling stories. Hopefully, that's a podcast is a great
yeah.
great
It's a
place
great
for
format
that.
for that.
Have you ever considered podcasting?
Yeah, no, I'm a guest. The guest only. I got to show up with the high res
There you go.
gear
Look at you.
and bring some
Live.
attention.
There you go.
All right, so there's two components to why Widgets and Digits. The first is that so I've always loved creative endeavors. When I was in high school, I tried to write a book, and I've been working on it for over a decade. It's like 300 pages long right now, and it's probably another decade away from being anywhere.
That's fair.
A book was a very difficult endeavor. I tried to switch to maybe like small short stories, right? And then I started making videos about those short stories. And what I realized is that it's really tough to get momentum in the writing space. To be
Right.
quite honest, like not as many people read anymore. Like, and typically, like it's a very competitive area where like only the best of the best float to the top.
Right.
And like
Sure.
to be honest, I couldn't even get like my mom and my family to read my like 10-page stories. And like as a creative person, I'm like, it's like you want people to engage with your content because that kind of like that re-triggers you to be excited and to make more and do more. Like, so if you guys didn't get the hint, like and follow the podcast because we want Vic to keep making more podcasts.
Yeah, you gotta have that
But-
encouragement.
But like the comments and the people liking your stuff, like that's what makes you want to do more of it. And I wasn't like I didn't really get it at all from the writing. I was starting to get it a little bit from the videos, but honestly, like videos can be very challenging to make, as you know. And I was like, I'm out of my space. Like I'm not necessarily a pure writer or a pure a pure whatever video maker. I needed something that like I knew very well that I could like use all these things together for. And I've been a board gamer my whole life, right? And like I'm a little bit of a planner guy. And I had a friend, he gave me the idea. He's like, "What if you try to make a board game?" And I was like, that is genius, and why didn't I think of that before? Because the thing is a board game is actually a story in a box. It's like when you talk about the lore of a game, right? That has to be built out. Like that's a world building. That's like creating this storyline. You're creating the storyline of what players get to experience in the game. So I got to pull in all those writing elements, and now I just needed something else, something unique that maybe I could create that doesn't get seen a lot in the game world that I felt players might enjoy experiencing. And now we come to the business part. So I'm a big business guy. Alex and I are both actually MBA graduates. We both went to UCLA Anderson.
Both work at the same company, actually.
Yeah, we both work in business strategy right now.
Nice.
And so one thing that kept striking me was that I know there's other business games out there, like Raccoon Tycoon stands out. I've heard about more business games as I've become more into the game space. But honestly, growing up, the only business game I knew was Monopoly, right? Yep. And everybody knows Monopoly. And like
everybody loves to hate Monopoly.
Exactly. And I think there's a good reason there, right? Like it's a fun game. I don't want to hate on Monopoly. I still love Monopoly and will continue to play it, but it's not like a good business game, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like the whole mechanic is around why don't you just buy these like money engines that just print money, right? And I'm like, if only business worked like that, right?
Yeah, that'd be great.
It doesn't really play like what a real business kind of feels like. And I actually see that a lot in games. I see a lot where like when it comes to some sort of economic mechanic, it's like you buy this money printer for some amount of money and you just wait until it prints enough money to pay itself off. It lacks kind of the process of how the money is made. You need to invest strategically, and you need to plan for your inputs and your outputs and watch the prices of those and keep track of labor. Like there's a lot that goes into making a business successful. It's not just invest money, get money back, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, I felt like all these games were missing it. And I thought like, I felt there was an opportunity to make a better business game.
Okay.
And so, and then all that was waiting was inspiration. So when we were in business school, there is when I got into business school, I didn't know what it was. My background's engineering. I honestly, I thought business school was going to be a place where they just give you a bunch of money and then they say, go start a business.
Do
and then,
with it.
and then
just venture capital.
whoever's like best business is like, you get a degree, you know?
Here you go.
Yeah, I didn't really know what I was getting into. And I was like, what if that's what it's like, you know? And then I go in and then it's like, no, you take statistics classes and you do your little multiple choice exams. And I'm like, you know, like,
do your little like future values.
Yeah. You like read your little book, you take your little test. And I was like, oh, so it's just like school. It's just like regular school.
And I was like, when do we get money?
I know. I was like, when do we get the money? When do we get to like try to start something? And like
business school is like graduate school, but you get to drink after class.
Exactly.
There you
So
go.
so I had this idea of what it might be, and like it was still great learning experience. I really enjoyed business school, but there was like a part of me that like dreamed of this idea of like, what if they just give us money and see who can make the best business? Wouldn't that be cool? Like that's how you should be grading like business school graduates, right? And so it wasn't really, but then there was this one class. It's called operations class, and for the midterm they did exactly that. So what it was is it was a simulation. It's called the Littlefield simulation. Everybody gets some digital dollars, right? And you have this. It's sort of similar where you have this like sequential process to making these test kits, okay? And then and they give you a bunch of statistics or whatever. Like there's a demand curve, and you have to kind of plan all this. And then the idea is that whoever makes the most money at the end of the midterm exam, they're going to grade you on a bell curve according to your standings at the end of the exam. And I was like, this is so cool. You're essentially going to grade me on my ability to play a game.
I know,
Game over everyone else in this class. You know what I'm saying?
That's the thing. Both Joe and I, even though we kind of were in different cohorts, we were in different years, both of us, we just went into our groups and said like, okay, I've created a spreadsheet.
It's going to be great.
All you gotta do is plug your numbers into here and everything will be just fine.
So let me tell you the story of this classroom experience. Okay. So what you need to understand is that in my class, there was this they have, in business school, you do everything in groups of teams. It's like a team. Everything is teams, right? Business is teams. Synergy. Alignment, you know?
Organizational structure.
Yeah, org structure. We love it. And so of course, like people form teams however they form teams, but there was like a super team. Like all the kids that came from like the best backgrounds. Like we had a super finance person, consulting people from like the big name organizations. They like got together as like a brain trust, and they're like, we're gonna crush this midterm, you know? And then me and my friends were like in the back. We kind of like look at each other. We're like, so I guess we're a team, right? You know? Like, And they're like, whatever, you know, whatever. And so the important thing for understanding about this game is that the way it was organized is that when you first start they gave you some information at the beginning. They said when your company starts, at first you're going to get a couple orders, right? And it's going to scale up over the course of the midterm until like a point where it plateaus and it kind of flatlines until the end of the exam. So when you're doing this strategy of like figuring out how many machines you need to buy to optimize your process, just remember you have to make a choice of how quickly you want to guarantee you can make these test kits. And the idea is like if you have a good amount of machines, you can guarantee like a normal level of delivery. If you have a bunch of machines, you could probably guarantee really fast delivery. But if you're short on machines, it's going to take a long time. And you get paid more if you guarantee fast delivery and you actually deliver on it, right? But if you miss, you have to pay penalties.
Okay.
So there's this whole strategy of how many machines do I need to guarantee a delivery time that I can make, right? So and then like if you can guarantee the fast delivery time at an affordable purchase level of machines, you'll make the most money, right?
Oh, okay.
So I know that sounded very complicated for everybody.
I was like, what?
I know. That was like a lot of like, what? It was a midterm, guys. There was some math involved. But essentially, I met with my team and I'm like, okay, so demand's going up over time. And if you have a bunch of machines, you can guarantee fast delivery and make a lot of money. And I was like, so what if you just come in the beginning and you just buy a bunch of machines, right? Get fast delivery, and then demand goes up over time. Eventually, you can't hit it anymore, and so you switch to the medium delivery. But in that beginning time, you just make a bunch of money, right? I was like, you're going to need the machines eventually, right?
Yeah, of course.
And so I was like, strategery, buy it all in the beginning, soak up all that extra cash, and then let it ride until the end, right? That sounds like a pretty decent like strategy, right?
Yeah.
I was like, okay. So I met with my team the night before, and I was like, what if we did this, guys? And everyone was like, what? And I was like, you know what, guys? Don't worry about it. Trust me on this one. I've got a plan. I think it's going to work. And so we show up on the day of the midterm, and I had printed out little sheets of paper for each person on my team. And it said, you're going to man station A, you're going to buy X number of machines right at the beginning, and you're going to let me know when utilization hits a certain point, right? And everybody had their own sheet of paper. And they're like, wait, how did you come to these like number? And I was like, don't worry about it. Just trust team. And they're like, fuck it, oh, sorry. But they're like, yeah, whatever, whatever. And so I was like, okay. So what happens is like, they threw our scoreboard. They had a scoreboard in the front of the class, and they had everybody's dollars. And so right at the beginning, we dropped straight to the bottom because we all bought a bunch of machines on my team, right? Yeah. And so my team starts freaking out. They start looking at me, and they're like, what did you tell us to do? You idiot. You've ruined us, right? And what the best part is, like, we all had these silly team names, right? They named us after animals, and we had the worst one. Ours was like Moose or something, right? Okay. And then like the super team was named like Tiger, right? And like they had like a sick name. And so we're like, Moose is right on the bottom. And they're like looking at me, and I'm like, hold steady, boys. You gotta trust. And they're like, all right. And they're all manning their stations. And then and I'm like, just let me know what the utilization is. And it kind of felt like we were on a ship, right? And I'd be like, station A, like, what's our utilization? And they're like, it's green. And I'd be like, station B, what's our utilization? And they're like, it's green. And then like, and so things are starting to go really well. We start to make more money, and all of a sudden we start passing people on the scoreboard tracker, right? And one of the guys, he had time on his hands, and he kept looking at the scoreboard tracker, and he's like, guys, we just passed Bear. And I was like, hold steady, boys. And then I'm like, station C, what's your utilization? And they're like, it's green. And then I'm like, station D, utilization green. He's like, we just passed Lion. And I was like, hold steady, boys, hold steady. And they're like, should we order more machines? I was like, hold, what's the utilization? A is green, D is green. I was like, hold. And then we reached the neutral point, and we're like slowly passing people on the tracker. And we reached the neutral point, and I'm like asking the guy, I'm like, are we still green? He's like, we're still green. And I was like, hold. And then what happened is at the very end of the simulation, like it's going to basically terminate, and it speeds through the last 90 days, and we're like trying to make a decision if we need to change like our order sequence. And like I'm like checking with everybody, they're like, it's green. The other guys, we're passing eagle, we're passing fish. And I was like, all right, let's stop. It stops, and we were 2 ranks below Tiger right before the simulation cuts off, and its time skips the last 90 days. And then all of a sudden it cuts off, it skips, we jump $500,000 ahead of them, and my team just freaking loses it. They're like throwing their sheets of paper in the air. They're like, we passed Tiger. And the best part is like Tiger is like comically angry. They're all doing like fist shucks. Like, you gonna let the nerds beat us? Yeah.
Classic underdog
Those
story.
guys don't even know what they're doing. Like we're like, we're like hugging each other. We're like, how did that happen? And I was like, So I guess what happened is like I had kind of roughly guesstimated how many machines we should buy, and I guesstimated the exact number of machines we would have had to buy to have like a perfectly efficient system. Nice. And so it just like worked out like that. And like because we bought it all right at the beginning, and we had like the maximum paying thing the whole time, we just like crushed everybody. Wow. And it was wild. And my team, and it was so funny though. So anyways, I was like, this is a wild experience, and I think this would be such a fun game. Yeah. And so that was the idea behind Widgets N Digits. Wow. And so I tried to make a game that kind of simulated this experience of like, you're trying to make a bunch of money by the end of the time, and like you need to buy machines to kind of upgrade it, but it's a sequential process. You have to have like the right number of each machine to like maximize your throughput. And like that's kind of how it kind of worked out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What a story, man.
That was Doesn't that get you a little hyped?
Yeah.
Oh man. Wow. It was wild.
And I could tell like some of the stuff you were saying, I was like, I can see how you incorporated it.
Yeah, you can see it now.
I was like, oh, snap. Yeah, I can see how it was incorporated. And like, man, thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah,
no, it's like, so
that was awesome.
That's the story of Widgets N Digits. It was like such a crazy class. It was like all like my dreams coming together. And then and so I was like, this is such a cool business idea. I wanted to make a business game. I wanted to make a game in general. It all just kind of like fed together.
Okay. And that's the thing, because like both Joe and I did the exact same class, basically. We were just separated by a year. Okay. And then when Joe came into work saying like, hey, I have a business game based off of operations class, the Littlefield simulation. I was like, wait, the Littlefield simulation? I love that shit. I was like, well, mine was a little bit different because mine was conducted remotely because, shit happened. Sure. So basically, I just created this giant Excel template with like a flow chart saying that like, okay, I have some calculations here. You get your copy, put your numbers in. If it turns red, switch paths. And then just keep going. I just basically tried to pre-program everything.
Yeah,
like a little flow chart, like a decision tree.
You gotta watch those utilization levels.
Yeah, just like if the cell turns red, do this thing. Like switch, buy a machine, like do something like that. Okay. But it wasn't nearly as like exhilarating because we were all kind of like little screens. I felt like I was on mission control, like controlling remotely.
When you like put it does feel like mission control a little bit.
That kind of sounds like in the light of the board game, the lore or theme is what you were explaining. It kind of sounds like Captain Sonar. like
sonar.
where like Captain Sonar is you have the captain, you have your engineer, you have whatever. The captain's like, all right, where are we at?
Yeah.
What are you doing? What's going on? And you're like
yeah.
trying to like go like with the whole like your submarine not to sink.
Yeah.
And then the other guys are also going, hey, where are you going? Where's left? What's going? What direction? Okay, we're going up. So you're kind of like fighting. So when you're saying like, what's our utilization? I was like, all right, that's like you're like the captain. Like I'm the captain now.
I know. Look at me. Look at me. I'm the captain now.
Yeah, but I could also see like a in like anime world where your team's freaking out and you're over here with like a cigar like
Just like
the light reflection light.
like hold the line.
Hold the
Just like
line.
stroking your beard.
It was
like,
great.
slowly.
It was just so funny because we like start out and everyone's like freaking out and I was like, I'm like telling them to hold steady in my head. I'm like, I really hope I did the math right.
you're like
They're gonna be
Yeah.
super mad at me if this doesn't work out.
like with the stern face staring at the screen like. And you're like inside, you're like, oh.
I know, literally.
You just gotta look calm and collected, so other people don't freak
But
out.
it was like the energy was crazy as we started because they have
Wow.
this public scoreboard, and as we start like creeping up the line,
Yeah.
and people are looking at us, and my team's like freaking out, and like it was wild. Yeah. So
No, you're like, that's us.
yeah. Oh yeah, Team Moose. Moose.
We meant to do that.
Yeah, this was us. You get the horns. You know what I mean?
That was cool, man. Yeah, that was awesome. The way they came to be. I mean, it shows like the idea of it and the time, like the passion of it. It's awesome. It was great. Follow-up question would be, so what goes into like the ins and outs of like just creating, like getting this started? Like how did you come up with like just wanting this board here or like these nominations? Like do you guys got to go through certain markets or certain things like that, or do you guys kind of have to design things like, all right, this is what we want to kind of look, how it looks, stuff like that? Like, yeah, what are the processes of going through like a board game, creating like the physicality of the board game?
Yeah, so a couple of things. So the initial designs, I just like made, I made everything in PowerPoint initially. So it was, I just like made some PowerPoints, make some boxes. I'm like, this is where you could put a card, you know? Like I had some initial ideas. Honestly, the layout has been fairly consistent to what the initial designs were, but it's Alex's beautiful art that's kind of brought it to life. And it's amazing how much the art actually plays a role in like the game itself and like the fun of it. Like when you can visually see everything, it's incredible.
Yeah.
I'll let Alex talk a little bit more about like how like we got this
Yeah, of
artistic
course.
look and all that piece.
Yeah.
But just in terms of creating a game, like essentially your first step is like you come up with the idea, then you basically make like a handwritten, whatever's the cheapest possible. I actually went to Michael's and I just like went, I was like, what's the cheapest thing that could be like a piece? And I'm like, oh, they have beads. So I bought like bags of like little beads, you know, and I got like, I had this like painter's box or whatever, like I carried around in, kind of looks like a board game box, but it's not. And then I got like little markers and like a blank cards so I could handwrite all the cards.
Right.
So everything was like handwritten. All these little, I got Monopoly money for the actual money, like because it's cheap to order online.
Yeah.
So money, handwritten cards, beads for pieces, and then just like printed out like sheets of paper with like PowerPoint stuff for like the game mats.
Okay.
And so it took me like 3 months to kind of refine the initial version.
Right.
The hardest part was like getting the numbers to a place where it like optimizes, because essentially what we've built here is a small little economy, and small changes, like I'm talking $1 changes in the prices of things, totally change the incentives and can totally change how the game plays out.
Really?
And they can make it such a way that the game is just broken, where like goods, like there's no liquidity in the markets, everything's flooded, nothing happens, or they change it so like it's really fun and everything's changing and flexible. So refining those numbers took 3 months.
Okay.
And then I kind of brought it to the office and started playing with Alex. And and when we took it for our very first convention, essentially we were collecting survey data. And the idea was like, we'll take it to a con, we'll play it with people that are real board gamers, we'll see what they think. And if we get bad feedback, that's the end of the game, and we'll just kind of like go home, tip our hats. That was a good time. But if it seems like people are interested and like want something like this, then we'll try to do it.
Yeah.
And the funniest, this is the funny story. So I didn't know Alex was an artist. When I met Alex, Alex was purely like, I love this. It's like Littlefield Simulation, you know.
I was totally on board.
He just wanted to play. He was showing up in the office with me every time I brought it to like play test. He was giving really good feedback. I was like, hey man, like there's a convention coming up. I want to show it to people. I could really really use a friend there to like table with me, and he's like, yeah, let's do it. Like I'm down. 12 hours of board games a day. What? Say less, bro. Like,
I have a better way to spend my weekend.
yeah, exactly. So we show up and we played it, and we were collecting survey data, and honestly, the feedback was really good, even in its really terrible handwritten state. And like, there's so many, when you think back now, there's so many things that like are luck that tipped the direction in this actually coming to life. Because I've been to other conventions so far, the strategic on environment, the fact that Toraj put so much effort into like channeling people to indie games so we could actually get play testers made a big, I just thought that's how cons were, but now I've been to other cons and like you can easily show up, sit there for 12 hours and nobody comes by. But Toraj created this environment where there was, we had 20 tests a day, even in our crappy handwritten state. They were playing the game, and like that allowed us to get a ton of feedback, and it was like overwhelmingly positive. Out of the 19 people that took our survey, I think 17 scored it a 4 out of 5 on the fun meter or higher, which was pretty good. And then 14 of the 19 left their email and said that like, contact me when this is ready to get sold. I want to buy it. And I was like, that's like a 60%. Like people, even in a crappy state, people are like, I want this game. And we're like, all right, we got to do it. And then the funny part is Alex turns to me after the con. He's like, like I'm a bit of an artist. Like, what if I just like did the art for the game? And I was like, oh yeah, like, yeah, whatever, man. Like if you want to try, like go for it.
Yeah,
And
I was like, I'll try and put together a little bit of art for some of the cards. I'll run them by you, see what you think. And it was like, I just kind of spend, I had a little bit of downtime at work. I was like, okay, I boot up PowerPoint. I figure like, I'll throw something together. I'll throw some basic things together. And, I made like 4 cards.
So the first 4 cards he showed are the dog card. And there's the dog, was it Steve?
Steve, yes.
It was Dog, Steve. It was one of the purple ones. I don't remember which one. And it was the hipster, the something in a coffee shop. And I'll show you. But like they're a little bit improved since then because Alex has gotten even better at making the card art since he first started. But I will show you. Like this was basically what he showed me. This design. The first and he was like, hey man, I can do art. And I saw that and I was like, this is the look. I was like, oh my God, you can't just do art, man. You do like great art. And I was like, this is how the game has to
You've
look.
been holding on to me, bro?
Yeah. I was
That's
like,
the thing. I thought that I was like, okay, maybe
He was
I'll just
very
throw something
humble.
together because like I was at work. I was on my work laptop. I was like, okay, I can open up PowerPoint. I'll make a little bit of like initial draft using shapes and stuff. I can like twist stuff around, like recolor stuff. And I was like, okay, I made this kind of mock-up. But then was like, okay, turns out PowerPoint is a really powerful vector illustrator program.
Every single piece of art you see in the game is all made entirely in PowerPoint.
Yep.
Yeah.
Really?
Everything you see here.
So essentially, Alex was like, what is the most tedious way I could possibly make this piece of art? What if I made it all out of tiny little shapes, organized perfectly?
my goodness.
So like when you see these like complicated images and stuff, everything 100% PowerPoint.
Wow.
And it doesn't even look like it. It just looks like vector art, but it's like when you look at the little shapes, you're like, oh my God, he spent forever.
This card stock, is this something you get online on the website?
So the manufacturing. So this prototype is made by GameCrafter. So GameCrafter is one of the best like prototype manufacturers. They manufacture, I think, out of like Michigan or something. Essentially, they have a really cool website where you can just they have a lot of pre-select components.
Yeah.
You pick a component, you upload an image, and then they can basically print it out like the image you want on the component. So the tricky part is you have to get the image, you have to get it to their specific sizing, and they are a little bit limited in like what they can offer.
Right.
If you move to mass manufacturing and you try to work with a real manufacturer, they'll be fully custom.
Yeah.
But for being a pre-select component house, like we were able to make a lot of stuff,
Yeah, these are
and the quality is really good. I will
Yeah.
say the pricing is very high. So it's only like this box you see here is probably like $80-$90.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like expensive for one-offs, which is why it's really more of a prototype house.
Right.
Because if you want to use a mass manufacturer to make a prototype, it's like $200 to $400.
wow.
So they're great for making small prototypes. You can get an initial look and feel of your game, sort of. Like it's not going to be exactly how the final version will look.
Right.
But then reasonably good turnaround. For a one-off, it'll probably take a month and a half to get your game. We just recently ordered or tried to order 10. It's like a 3-month wait for a larger run. So that's actually what is the main delay for us moving to Kickstarter is waiting for the 10 orders because we want to give copies to reviewers. So that's kind of where we're at right now.
Yeah, that kind of follows up with you kind of hit it with my follow-up question was, so now that you guys have kind of the system going, the flow going, obviously you might do some more tweaks along the way, but like, what's the future for Widgets N Digits now? Like, what's the next step that you guys want to carry on?
So essentially, given the feedback, we really try to incorporate feedback of our players. We have to scale it with the fact that we have to appeal to the right audience and yada yada. But that being said, we take everybody's feedback into consideration. This game is actually a collective effort of all the people who've played with us. Yeah. So recently, we are making a big change according to a very consistent piece of feedback. It was hard. We had to kill one of our babies, which was the stock market. So we've had to make a big change. It's going to probably take us a little while to fully vet out this change. We also have an expansion to the game called Boardroom Battle, and like once we vet out the classic game, we have to vet out the changes with Boardroom Battle. Yeah. So there's actually a fair amount of vetting now that we have to do to kind of really tone this in. I would say we're somewhere between a month. I say a month, but I always undershoot. It might actually be more like 2 months of vetting, and then we're going to reorder the reviewer copies. If it's the same order schedule, it might be another 3 months. So we might be 5 months away before we're actually ready to launch the game. Okay. And we're going to probably try to correlate the launch with another Strategicon just because it's so great to be there and have so many people come by. Sure. So I mean, unfortunately, we're probably like 5-6 months away from launch now. But once the reviewer copies are out, we're gonna do a big splashy event launch. Launch it on Kickstarter, and then people will be able to get the game.
Of course, that's really cool. Yeah. Does it take that long to just get that stuff like?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot that goes into it because you have to think about it from playtesting is the hardest part is like I just told you, it's like we're 6 months away and only 30% of that is refining the actual game. We have to be absolutely done with the game in 2 months to even launch in 6, right? Yeah. Because it takes so long to get the manufactured pieces, and like manufacturing is only part of it, right? Like I said before, and like you called out, nobody will play a game that doesn't have a spicy intro, that doesn't have a cool thing. Like, so we have a whole marketing calendar. We have all this stuff we want to do to try to hype up the game. Ultimately, like we're very low budget. Like we're a very small group. We're developing a lot of these marketing skills as we go. So like, but you have to put in the work. The marketing is actually probably about as important as everything else that went into the game. So that's why it takes so long, because it's like the manufacturing. It's also prepping all the marketing materials so that we can have a really exciting 2 months building up to the launch of our game. We want to do all kinds of stuff, like lots of TikTok posts. We want to lots of Instagram posts. We want to be making like lots of announcements. We want to go to a lot of local board game cafes to show it off, to play with other people. We want to go to cons. We want to reach out to like local newspapers and see if we can get stories published. Like, and we're going to be making ads to go on like Facebook, Instagram, blah blah blah.
We want to reach out to like our UCLA alumni community, see if they're interested as well.
So like all of this stuff, like you have to prepare it, and then you have to allocate time to do it, and so that all is kind of part of it. Kickstarter is actually the call to action moment. When you launch your Kickstarter, you have to have your community ready to go.
Start going.
Because the problem is like, so even in the lowest budget sense of it, probably going to spend like $5,000 to $6,000 on marketing, and if our Kickstarter fails to fund, that money's just thrown away. And unfortunately, I don't think we have the budget to like try again. So it's like we have to make it perfect because we get one chance to fund our Kickstarter campaign. If not, that's just money in the hole, and like the project just dies. And it's been a year already in terms of effort. So it'd be such a shame to throw away a year of effort. So we want that splashy event to really succeed. Like we've our break even, we need like 220 backers. So our goal is to get 220 backers. At that point, we would fund. We would actually lose money at that point. We'll be negative, but we at least can get the game out to people who want to play. And so that's the only goal right now. We just want people to be able to have the game. We want to be able to say we made it and people were able to play it and have fun. But like, so we're trying to build up that, feel very confident in that like 220 backer number is kind of where we're at.
For sure. I mean, it would be fantastic if we blew up so big that we were actually able to make money. But at the end of the day, our goal is to bring the hive together. Our goal is to let people have fun. Our goal is to get this game into people's hands so they can enjoy the same kind of experience that
when you put a year of effort into something, it's more about like having people get to play with it and have people get to experience the game.
I can tell you from that mentality, like, you guys are gonna make it far. You're gonna make it far with that.
We're gonna make good games.
No, you are, and it shows. Like I said, this is very authentic, very genuine. But it's also like, this isn't a game you just create to be like, I'm doing it so I can make money and get it out there. This is a game to like let's bring people together, you know.
I will tell you though, advice for people who are interested in making games: if you want to be in games for making money, make card games. All right, it's a different calculation entirely. Like
Easier, a little bit easier?
Oh yeah,
Way
they
easier.
produce for much less money, and yet they sell for very similar to a full board game, and that's huge. Like for example, to produce mass produce a deck of cards or something, it's probably like $1 to $2 with the box, right?
Because it's a smaller container, it weighs less, it costs less to ship and store.
And so you save so much money on shipping, you save so much money on production, and yet people buy like card game only games for like very similar amounts. Like Dominion is an entirely card game game, and people pay the same as they would for like a full box board game. And yet I can tell you that game is much cheaper to produce. And so when you save money like that, you're way more able to actually like turn it into a business model, turn it into something successful. So first time game designers, take your brilliant idea, make it a card game, and you have a chance to make more games.
Or sit on it for now and then save your brilliant idea for when you're more established, when you've got more of a reputation.
Side idea first. With the card.
The other thing is like having a following from successfully making a game, even if it's only marginally successful, it makes you so much more likely to make that second game idea successful.
Interesting.
So like it's like do the easiest possible thing for your first idea. Try to just like break it over that break-even threshold so you have enough money to like successfully do more campaigns, and each of your following campaigns will be like a better and better chance to succeed. Yeah.
That is so cool, man. That is awesome, man. Yeah. Like, so the obviously you kind of told me the future. So like, do you guys have any like future cons you guys are planning to like showcase more of this stuff? I mean,
so we're definitely going to go to OrcCon, which is the other Strategicon event. I think that one's in February. We're probably going to go back to the middle Strategicon, which I think was not Gateway. It was, what was it called? There's 3 of them, but they're all Strategicon. GameX. We'll probably go to GameX, which I think is in May. That probably will be what we try to align the new launch to. And we'll probably just go to all the Strategicon ones. We'll try to go to more other conventions. There's not a ton of conventions in SoCal.
they're all like East Coast.
They're kind of spread out. We'll try to see what attainable conventions we can go to. But if there's a con and it's in SoCal, there's a good chance we'll be there. Yeah.
We gotta get you guys to Gen Con.
Gen Con.
The big daddy.
Oh, that's right. The hard part with the Comic Con events is like board games like aren't super the focus. They usually have like a free play room, but it's not like what's nice about the board game cons is everyone's there to play board games, and like whatever room you set up in, people will
Gen
come
Con
play.
is a big all board games.
So
the one in Indianapolis.
That one.
Gen Con.
No, the Big Daddy.
We gotta get you guys there.
There's the real dream. There's the real
Gen
dream.
Con. The Comic Con of board games.
Hopefully our Kickstarter is funded, and then we can like look into all the other fun stuff to follow.
Yeah, me and a couple friends we've been wanting to go to Gen Con.
I bet it would be super cool.
It's
Maybe
cool.
we'll see you there.
Hey, let's do it. Let's plan it.
I'd be super down.
Set the date right now.
Oh my gosh, that would be such a cool event. Like some of the pack events too. Like the pack events are huge for stuff.
So you guys will be at the Strategicon in February.
February for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, and
Definitely see you guys there.
probably we'll see you there again.
Going back.
Come swing by the room.
I have to. We have to.
Oh,
we already planned it. Like once we left, the group of guys that we're with, we're like, we have to come back. We have to come back.
Yeah.
I mean, you know where to find us.
Of course, you're our first stop, guys.
Yeah.
You're our first. I want to try out that new method that you got.
Absolutely. And there's also the expansion, which you never got to play. You probably be a while before you get to play it because you got to set up the time. But the expansion takes the base game and all those cards you liked playing with. We now give them card abilities, so it allows you to set up it's like this card will give you free refreshes, and this card when you sell it will like allow you to swap cards with somebody else, and so now it adds in a whole nother layer of like what's going on.
And one of my favorite cards, you activated this ability. There's a chance that you get to steal money from the richest player. There's a chance you lose the card completely and it blows up.
No way, really?
It's the big red button card.
Yes,
but you know you can't resist pressing that button.
Oh no, that's my first time.
If you're a high roller.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay, guys. So I think we'll wrap it up here with you. I thank you guys so much for coming.
Hey, Vic, thanks so much for having us,
You guys
man.
explain this game. I'm telling you guys now that this game's going to get big.
Oh, thank
you have my support, whatever you guys need. Like, I love it.
That's what we're here
anyone
for.
listening, guys, follow these guys. If you want to tell us your socials, your Instagram,
yeah,
anything like
absolutely.
that.
So on Instagram, we're at Friendly Bee Game Company. We have a couple more socials, but that's kind of the only place I'm really posting. So follow us on Instagram at Friendly Bee Game Company.
Yes.
You could. It's the same name on Facebook and YouTube. So if you're feeling generous, give us more follows across all.
Give them a subscribe, follow them, send them a message, tell them that they rock.
Yeah.
And stay tuned if we're going to be launching our Kickstarter at some point, and
soon.
Be sure to drop us a follow as well if you want to stay tuned.
Yeah, we would love that. We do have a pre-follow page on Kickstarter, which is just searching Widgets N Digits. That would be super fantastic if anybody would give us a follow.
Do it, guys. I'm telling you guys. I'm telling you now. get in on this. It's early. They're kicking off. It's a fun game. Try it out. Even message them. Say, hey, I want to playtest this game. I'm pretty sure you
Oh
guys
man, we would love that. That would be the best.
I mean,
them a
if you're in the LA area, just call us up. We'll swing by. We can run a playtest.
Yes,
I know-
absolutely.
I know for sure. I probably might hit you guys up soon. Be like, hey, let's go to Geeky Teas over here. in
Oh,
Burbank.
dude, that's actually I would
Yeah,
love
it's
that.
right there.
That's where they do the First Play LA. It's like Geeky Teas.
Is it there?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. You already go there, man.
All
Oh,
right,
yeah.
I'm a frequent member.
Yeah, there you go.
I love that place. That place is
Dude,
great.
the place is great. I love
Yes,
that place.
It is, and
It's also the cat rescue. Oh
it
man,
is,
I
yeah.
bet you love
See the
cat-
cats everywhere?
Oh, it's so
Yeah.
good. I love that idea.
It's
It's like,
fun.
you know what would be great with board games? Tea and cats.
Cats. There you go.
Can't beat that combination.
Yeah, you can't.
Drinking your tea, rolling some dice, get some cats.
Cats
rolling
all
around.
over you. Love it, baby.
Knocking over yourself. Like, oh.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, thank you guys again once so much for coming.
Thanks for
I'm
having
very
us.
honored you guys. I mean, it was fun meeting you guys at StreetJuCon. I'm looking forward to future playthroughs, play tests, just us hanging out and just
Yeah.
playing some board games. Like I got a
Dude, you got a
plethora of
great
board games.
stack. I love it.
I got anything, whatever you guys want to play. Where I'm down to play whatever, anything and stuff. And yeah, thank you guys so much for sharing it. And I guess again, it's gonna get big, guys.
Thank you,
It's
man.
gonna get
Appreciate
big.
your support.
It's a fun game.
Totally.
Yeah, guys, check it out. And then stay tuned for the next episode of Games y Más.
This guy's great.
Yeah,
Keep watching, everybody.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, thank you. And yeah, I guess that's it. And nos vamos a ver a la próxima.